Thank you all so much for staying for this virtual after party. I am so delighted to introduce my friend, Chef Eric Huang. Um, I'm going to tell a little story about how we first met, which is it was at the summer renovation party at 11 Madison Park restaurant. And we immediately bonded over the fact that we both chosen careers that perhaps our parents had not dreamed for us. And Eric shared with me that he had gone to Juilliard to study cello, but he dropped out, and then he went to Northwestern to study East Asian studies. But then after that, he realized that he wanted to cook. So he said he felt like all Asian parents around the world were disappointed in him. And I was so surprised to hear this because he was literally working at what was at that time the number one restaurant in the world. Um, he eventually became promoted to sous chef, and he left about a year and a half ago to start his own fine dining restaurant. But because of the pandemic, he started cooking fried chicken in his uncle's kitchen. And now I am so happy to share that his restaurant, Pecking House, it has been recommended by the New York Times, the New Yorker, Esquire, New York Magazine, so many different places. The waiting list is almost 8,000 people. Um, so I'm so happy to introduce my friend Chef Eric. He's gonna cook one of the dishes in the book, which is one of my favorite childhood dishes of all time. Which is poached chicken with ginger scallion sauce. Here is Eric.
Oh, can I hand it off here? Come on now. That was very generous of her. I didn't drop out of Juilliard. I was expelled. But, you know, same, same. All right. Well, we're going to make it happen in this little kitchen here. So, poached chicken with ginger scallion sauce. Very important to Pik-Shuen's memories, childhood, and incidentally, something we've cooked here before together. Kind of by accident because it's what we had at the time, but it came out really nice. Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. So, all right. Key ingredient to poached chicken with ginger scallion sauce is a chicken. So, I've only been frying chicken for quite some time. So, today we're going to poach one, quite the opposite. While everyone loves crispy chicken skin and crispy textures, in Eastern cuisines and cultures, the slippery, moist, gelatinous texture of skin is very prized. And I think it's something, it hurts my feelings when people say they don't like, you know, poached chicken skin or like they only want roasted chicken skin. It's a very Western-centric viewpoint on food, okay? So we need to combat those at all times when we can. So we have a chicken. This is the same chicken we use at Pecking House. It's very cute. It's very round. It's plump. See, it's a good guy. About 3.5 pounds. This is a air chilled chicken, which means that after the bird is, dealt with, it hangs in a refrigerated room to reach a cold temperature. This is pretty unusual. Most chickens are dumped in an ice bath, which is not ideal. The skin gets very soggy. It becomes like a sponge. It just soaks up all this water, and then, you know, while we're not getting crispy chicken skin here, the condition and the texture of the skin is still very important. So what we're going to do here, the air chilling prevents excess moisture. So we're gonna rinse our friend off here, just kind of get in the cavity a little bit. Although I know these are very nice chickens, just kind of gotta give it a little rinse of any little funny bits that have been left behind. But other than that, that's about it. It is going to take a bath in just a bit. So we're going to prepare our chicken for poaching. I'm going to wash my hands. It's going to be good. I didn't come prepared, so I only have this wok. I really thought that they would have a stock pot, but I was wrong. So that's my fault. But conveniently, it fits right here in this sink. So ideally, how we would poach a chicken is with chicken stock. So if you had chicken stock lying around, all that extra gelatin, all that extra flavor is great. But if not, water is great. You're going to make basically chicken stock by poaching this chicken. It's going to be very flavorful. It's going to be delicious. So we have this pot. It's just water. And you're literally just going to pop your friend in here for a little bath. I will show you in a moment kind of how submerged it is. But, you know, picturing your personal jacuzzi, you're mostly submerged. And you don't have to trust it or anything. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. But you can if you like. So now we are going to just do some aromatics. So ginger, very important. Seasoning chicken broth. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. You literally just kind of smash it. Kind of like that. There you go, cooking. And then we're going to add some wine. This is... it comes in a fancy bottle, but I brought it here. So this is Shaoxing wine. This is Chinese rice wine. Very important to the process. So we're going to add a few splashes of that. As you'll notice, I'm not really measuring anything. I think I measured things for the recipe, but do what feels right. We're going to pop in some garlic here. Here you go. Whole garlic cloves, peeled already. It's great. And then we're going to get some scallions. And again, nothing crazy with scallions here. We're just going to clean them up, give them a little wash. Maybe 2, 3, 4 scallions, whatever you like, whatever feels right. We're going to trim off little root ends here. Just going to kind of give them a little twist, give them a little squeeze, extract that little extra allium flavor. Okay. And then that's most of it right there. We're going to add some salt. You don't need to go crazy because we're going to add salt in another way later. So maybe like, let's say 2 of these handy little celery spoons here that are very cute. It's nice. I like that. And then the all-powerful chicken powder. So basically what we're doing here is adding chicken powder to chicken broth to poach a chicken. So we're cubing the chicken flavor as much as we can to the third power. I didn't do great at math, you know what I mean. So there's nothing wrong. This is not cheating. This is not bad. This is monosodium glutamate and other chicken flavors. It's delicious to make things taste good. MSG's not bad for you. Don't believe the fear mongering. It's great. So we're just gonna, I'm not, a glug, whatever a glug of chicken powder is. Maybe 2 tablespoons. I don't know what I said in the recipe. Sorry. This is probably not how you grew up doing it. Right? And then we will put this chicken on to poach. I will show you everything that's in here. Nothing crazy. So as you can see, mostly submerged, some bruised up scallions, a smashed piece of ginger, a handful of garlic cloves, a splash of wine, a couple teaspoons of salt, chicken powder. That's it. Now we're going to put it on the boil. Now, poaching is traditionally cooking below a boil. We're going to bring it up to a boil first, just to get some of the gunk out. Every time you cook proteins in water, there is some coagulation of some undesirable proteins. But after that, once it comes to a boil, 10 seconds, we'll just scoop off some of the gunk, and then we'll bring it down. You should see very lazy bubbling, very occasional intermittent bubbling. And that will be just about it. We'll do about 25 minutes. Once it comes to a boil, you'll turn it down. And depending on the size of the chicken and how submerged it is, probably somewhere between 25 and 30 minutes. And then ideally, you would let it cool overnight. This would allow, you would strain out all the scallions and the bits in there. You'd take your chicken and you'd pour the broth over it to allow it to cool. Because that way, as the meat rests, it's going to suck up all this flavor. And the skin is going to be in a nice taut condition. It's going to be springy instead of just kind of falling apart. And then it's just going to be really juicy and tender on the inside. And you can reheat it kind of gently that way. So I'll put it on the boil here. Then failing that, you can pop it in an ice bath, which is great. And just kind of give it some time to cool down. This dish is not supposed to be eaten hot. It's not supposed to be eaten cold either. It's supposed to be eaten kind of like room temperature, which kind of freaks people out, but it's really good. That's how it's supposed to be eaten. So, you know, once you get your chicken cooked, you put it under ice, or you put broth over it and allow it to cool overnight. You know, then you wait 24 hours and you eat the next day. So it's been 24 hours. And howdy, look at this. Hey, we have some chicken. That's great. There was maybe a breast taken out of it because I needed to make sure it tasted pretty good. Sorry about that. But, you know, we're going to eat dinner after this, so we had to do it well. So as you'll see, this chicken broth right here, very gelatinous. It's jiggly. It's from cooking chicken in it. Gives it collagen, gelatin, makes it delicious. So we'll carve this up in a little bit, but we'll do the ginger scallion sauce first. So, all right, ginger scallion sauce. So, what you need is a heat-proof bowl. You need some sort of neutral oil that has a high smoke point. This is grapeseed. This is the good stuff. Very high smoke point, very neutral flavor. But you can use corn oil, you can use vegetable oil, soybean oil, whatever. Just don't use extra virgin olive oil. Or butter. That's not the way. You want something that's very clean and can reach a high temperature. So I'm just going to take this cast iron skillet. You don't need a lot of oil. Maybe like, maybe like a half cup. This is kind of a large skillet, so it looks like a lot, but it's not. And then we're gonna put that on the stove. We'll heat that up later when we're ready. There's still some other steps to go. So ginger scallion sauce is meant to be a unemulsified sauce. It's a lot of aromatics, obviously ginger, garlic, and scallion, but it's not emulsified. So it will separate into its liquid components, its solid components, and the oil on top, which is intentional because you're supposed to eat sliced poached chicken and dip it through and pull it all the way up. It's almost like creating a vinaigrette with every bite. But other than that, there's nothing too crazy about it. We're gonna mince some ginger. I know there's probably some purists in here that want to peel like ginger with a spoon to get, I don't know, because their grandma did it or something, but like nobody has time for that, so I'm just gonna cut it into a big square. So, and this knife is very sharp. Thank you for sharpening it for me. So yeah, I mean, you just cut it into a square or a block that's easy to work with. It doesn't even have to be like super perfectly clean, but there's nothing wrong with this stuff. You put this in your broth. It's great. That's what it's good. What it's here for. Just boop. Okay, so we have about, let's see, about 2.5-inch piece of ginger. All right, scallions. Let's see here. Maybe we'll go with 5. Let's go with 5 scallions. One bunch. And remove the roots on that. We're gonna use the whole thing. And then garlic. We'll get to that after. This cutting board's very small. So I'm gonna wash the scallions first. So the scallions we just want to slice. Then you want to make sure they're recognizable as scallions, just because you don't want to overly mush up scallions. They have like a pretty delicate texture. We're going to pour hot oil over it later. If the scallions are too finely mushed, it's just going to kind of eat like mush, and that's not what we want. So we're just going to slice them thinly. Doesn't have to be beautiful, but the whole thing. Whites, light part, light green part, everything's going together. Make sure it's uniform and they use the whole thing. And again, anything you have left over, you just throw it in your pot. I've never seen myself cut on camera before. It's kind of weird. I'm afraid I'm going to blast my finger off. It's going to be really embarrassing. Okay. Pretty straightforward. These scallion greens, you're not going to throw them out. You're going to put them in broth. They're going to be great. There's broth. It's happening. All right, so then we're going to take these scallions, pop them in our heat-proof bowl. So this is a ceramic bowl, because again, remember we're about to put some screaming hot oil in there. So don't use anything plastic or Tupperware that is going to melt on you and give you all the delicious plastic carcinogens that we love. Okay, Clean the board off. Clean the station off, chef. Okay, same thing with the ginger and garlic, although these you can mince. So if you had a cleaver, this would be like a really straightforward thing where you just smash it and start beating the snot out of it. But, you know, as it stands, just kind of slice it into blocks or planks. Again, it doesn't have to be anything crazy because we're going to run our knife through it later. And then I'm just going to julienne this. That's kind of just like a rough dice. And then I'm going to go back through it with the garlic. This ginger we're going to put in the broth. So yeah, you want an equal amount of ginger. I mean, if you really are an extremely precise chef, you can measure it by weight. I'm not going to do that. It's going to be fine. It's going to be delicious. And then you're just going to chop it up. And then we're going to run the whole thing through. So we're going to chop it. Use a food processor. I'm not judging. That's great. Save yourself time. Everyone's got things to do. We'll just say I worked at a 3 Michelin star restaurant. I used the food processor all the time. Nobody knew about it, but I did it. All right, roughly same amount of garlic. And then this you do want to pretty finely mince. Not quite to a paste, but to a fairly uniform mince. Familiar with those sorts of terms. It just, the only time this is getting cooked in like, raw ginger and garlic, not super delicious. But the only heat it's going to see is this brief pour over of oil, which I'm going to turn my oil on now. Here. Okay, so we'll start getting our oil to heat up, but yeah, raw ginger and garlic in measured quantities is good, but if you are eating a whole lot of it, that's not great. But you also don't want to cook it so much that it turns brown or it caramelizes and you get that, sweet allium flavor or that kind of mellow ginger flavor. You still want the pepperiness and the spice and the kick, but not so much so that you feel like you're taking a ginger shot or that you're going to have garlic on your breath for the next, 2-3 hours. So we're just going to mince it finely. And that way, when we pour oil over it, it's going to just cook enough to have a nice bite, but nothing too raw and unpleasant. Small cutting board. Yeah, just run your knife through it. If anyone, again, food processor, slap chop, whatever, do your thing. Just make sure it's going in. Scallions will come out nice. Okay. And I made a lot here. Probably way too much for the young people that are eating, but that's all right. That's always how it happens, right? Nobody can cook for one person. I don't know how you do it. I don't think it's really possible. Without some sort of waste somewhere. Okay, so I didn't spend a ton of time on this, just kind of running my knife through it. And I'm pretty happy with that. That's a uniform enough mince for me for this. So I don't know if you can, can you see that? Is that helpful? It's pretty, again, you can use a food processor, or if you have a sous chef as good as Chef Ben Taylor to sharpen your knife for you, and you just do it by hand. It's great. That was so fast because the knife was so sharp. I'm going to just put this in a bigger bowl because I made way too much, as I was saying. So, this is Pyrex. No problem here. Plenty heat resistant. Okay. Move this over here for now. Clean up a little bit. Chicken is not quite out of boil, but we'll get there. All right, so we have our minced ginger and garlic. good amount. Scallions, roughly the same amount. I'm gonna combine it all. Heat-proof bowl. And the only, oh yeah, some soy sauce like it's Mari. Yeah, sorry. There's not much else that goes into it. We're gonna use our chicken powder again. This is our good friend. Let's use one of these handy little teaspoons here. Let's say 2 teaspoons for this amount. Yeah, 3, why not? Just like a little bit of salt. And we're gonna add some sugar. Sugar is really, oh, thank you. Forgot to ask for that earlier. Sugar is really important in Asian cooking, especially Chinese cooking, because there's not so much salt. We use soy to season most things. And soy needs sugar to balance it, because soy has not only intense salt, but it has like a lot of umami and other flavors going on. So you do need sugar to balance it out. That's usually where people, when they start cooking Asian food, they learn to use just seasoning things with sugar as if it was salt, just sprinkling it right in. So we're going to use coconut sugar here because that's what we have. And it's really good. This is actually how we did this accidentally last time. And it came out really nice because it has a really nice toasted brown flavor. So we're going to ask maybe like 2 things of coconut sugar. And then the only other things that are going to go in here are the hot oil, black vinegar. This is Chinkiang vinegar. Very great, very delicious. And soy, or in this case, tamari, which is also fine. You're just going to leave the wet ingredients out because obviously, what is that? The kitchen shade is palpable? What is it? I don't know what that means. But we're going to leave the liquid out because obviously we're going to pour hot oil over it. We're not trying to kill anyone or create a bomb in our kitchen. So just dry ingredients for now. You can do a little landing zone, a little paper towel here. I don't know if you can see that. It helps because this is going to make a mess, but it's worth it. How are we doing here on this heat? Getting there. We're getting there. Oh, it's not on. That's great. Okay, now we're good. All right, it's on. So now we're going to do a little cleanup. Get ready to carve our chicken. But while our oil is heating up, number one rookie mistake, forgot to check if the burner was on. So I was like, oh yeah, this looks nice and warm, except it's not on at all. All right. So we'll wait for our wet ingredients. Our oil will be heating up. I'm going to clean my station because I'm a professional. And then we'll talk about carving a chicken. So let me get one of these guys out of here. One of our magical 24-hour cooked chickens. So as we can see, this has been cooked and rested in, maybe we can see it there. Beautiful. In its own stock. So it has this kind of shiny, sticky, gelatinous texture. It's going to be really juicy. I just know it is because when it was hot and then it goes into the liquid and cools together, all the liquid redistributes and it becomes really juicy. And so if you were eating this Cantonese style, much like our friend Pik-Shuen here, you would take a giant ass cleaver and just start chopping this thing into pieces. Except it looks like that and it looks barbaric, but it's actually way more elegant than that. It's an art form, honestly. When you go to like a Cantonese restaurant, the chef cutting the meat with a cleaver is highest ranking cook because the ability to put enough force behind the cleaver and to cut through the bone, but keeping the skin nice is extraordinarily difficult. And you need a really sharp, heavy cleaver. You need to be super accurate. So while it looks like somebody's just chopping away over there, there's a lot of finesse actually. But we're just gonna, you can choose to do that if you have a cleaver, or you can choose to take it off too. Take it off the bones, whatever you like. I'm gonna kind of go halfway. I'm gonna take this little trussing off. I'm gonna take the breast off the bone, but I'm gonna leave the wings and the legs with the bone in. How's my oil doing? Pretty good. We're all right. Is it smoking? Oh God! Huh? Okay. So again, this dish is supposed to be served. This is all good chicken broth. oil's heating up. So yeah, I'm gonna take the breast off the bone, but then leave the rest on. So it helps for everyone to familiarize themselves with chicken anatomy. It's a useful skill in life. I highly recommend it. But you're just gonna make an incision here between the leg and the breast. Hopefully you can see that there. Right there, right in the, you know, right in the pocket, so to speak. And then you're gonna just kind of pull that off, and then you should see the thigh bone pop right out. At which point you can just kind of cut in and then pull the whole thing off. And again, you're taking great care to keep the skin in good condition. And if the bone in the marrow has a little bit of red to it, that's not a bad thing. You would know if it was egregiously undercooked. This is cooked, but it has a little bit of pink. That actually means it's cooked. It's not overcooked, which is important. Oh, was this smoking? Yeah, I'll give it. Okay, my sous chef has let me know that my oil is smoking now. So. Are you guys afraid of it? I think we can go a little hotter. All right, so I removed the thigh from the drum, and then I'm just going to cut right through it, the joint and the knee with the skin up. And again, you'll see that there's like a little tinge of red on the marrow. Again, not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And then that's really it. That will separate the thigh and the drum. Very cute. Our chickens have very small, stumpy legs. So, and then that will be that. And then, okay, now it's definitely smoking. All right, sorry, pause. We're gonna do the sauce really quick. So our grapeseed oil, smoking. You can use a thermometer if you like, but it should be close to like 400 Fahrenheit because you're just gonna pour it over. I don't know if you can see the smoke, but it's gonna happen now. So you should hear that, right? It's like sizzle. And then it should kind of just blast over really quick. I actually think I'm gonna do a little bit more, but you can smell it. It'll release aromas. Oh, your stock pot is. Right. So that was basically, you want it to sizzle and to be hot. I'm gonna add a little more oil because again, I've cut too many things. So that's the situation we're in now, but it's fine. We're gonna heat it up. We're gonna finish carving our chicken. So as you saw before, I went inside between the breast and the leg, and then I just cut the thigh and the drum in half at the knee. As I was saying before, familiarizing yourself with chicken anatomy is useful life skill, and all birds are somewhat the same. So if you can carve a chicken, you can carve a turkey, duck, pheasant, quail, squab. Can keep going. A lot of birds, humans like birds. So I just kind of plucked the wing off there, and then we're gonna carve the breast. So again, when you're carving this, a sharp knife, taking care to keep the integrity of the skin, is what really matters. Because as I was saying before, Chinese people love chicken skin, gelatinous texture. All right, so I'm just, I did that one away from the camera. That was not cool. If we could see here, and then I'm trying to redo it, kind of put it back together. So there's a keel bone on chickens, just runs right down the middle. You follow with your knife. There's a wishbone here. You can go around it. You can take the wishbone out before. And then you kind of cut down at an angle to go past the wing. And then it opens, and there exposes a tenderloin. And then that's really it. Then you can slice it into chopstick-friendly pieces. Oh, yeah, we're smoking again. All right, hold on 1 second. So I needed more oil, so that's what I'm going to do here. Yay, pyrotechnics. And then... All right, and then we're gonna put this chicken here. Okay, that smells good. All right, again, we're slicing. You don't have to do it really fancy. Again, we're just doing chopstick-friendly pieces. The only thing that matters is keeping the skin. The perfect bite will be this really juicy breast meat with a little piece of skin on top. That's what you want. Chinese people are already averse to white meat, so you can't overcook it. They will be upset. All right. So let's say that's a half chicken. So as I said before, there's nothing really being cooked here. This is the hot oil pour over, takes away the rawness, releases the aroma of the vegetables. Okay. It's pretty cool temperature-wise, but it also is cool in a more metaphorical way. And then we're gonna season it with the vinegar and the samari or soy we were talking about earlier. So just like a little glug of vinegar. Acid is really important, brings out bright flavors. I mean, this is, you should think of it more as a vinaigrette. There's the hot oil that releases the ginger scallion and garlic aroma, and then you're using a little bit of vinegar to season it. So just like you would a salad or any other vinaigrette. How does this thing work? Help! We're going down. Oh, is this an 11 Madison Park plate? Oh, we're gonna make this so nice. Okay, we're gonna take our little bib off, clean our board up a little bit. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Pik-Shuen. I appreciate you. Oh, this thing's in my face the whole time. Sorry. All right, we're gonna season it with, there we go, a little tamari. Again, you can use soy sauce tamari to your taste, whatever. Use low sodium soy, we'll use whatever you want. Light soy, dark soy. Don't use dark soy, actually. It's gonna be really too bad. I redact that statement. Light soy is great though. So yeah, you're basically making a vinaigrette. So you kind of smell it like, that smells good. A little tang. Should be very ginger, scallion, aromatastic. We're gonna cut some scallions, some raw scallion, not ones we're intending to cook. We'll just do one here because so far I'm pretty off on judging portions. I've made way too much food. And this is going to be for the all-important presentation. Got to look cool. Got to impress your friends. Do it for the Instagram. Go a little bit more bias. All right. So arrange a little thigh here. And a little half chicken. There's a little wing. Or a little breast, kind of bunched them all up. Everybody's got a nice piece of skin on it. Looks really nice. You're going to salt bait the scallions over. They're really cool. Those are fresh raw scallions, right? And then that's when you're going to take your Instagram moment, and then you're going to turn to story mode and turn video mode on. And then you're going to do the pour over. It's going to like boomerang back and forth, you know? Like that's how you know. And then that's it. That's all you need to do to be a chef. You're crushing it. And then just pour it over. Or you can eat it with chopsticks and dip each piece through. That's probably what most Chinese people would do. But again, most Chinese people of our parents' generation did not have Instagram. So you would eat this with white rice. You have to have white rice. That's not negotiable. All Chinese food is meant to be eaten with white rice. That's why it's really seasoned and salty on its own. And you need the white rice to balance it. If you're eating Chinese food without white rice, you're not doing it right. And then, yeah, you would serve it with some sauteed greens, garlic, MSG, chicken stock, you know, nice and meaty. And that would really be it. And so I hope that was informative. I hope that was helpful. If you want to get a close-up of our chicken here. Pik-Shuen, you want to hold the close-up? Yay, cooking! Yay! Oh, yeah. But who's that? Oh, take a bite. Yeah, you take a bite. Is it good?
You should take a bite and enjoy it for us.
Okay.
No chopsticks, just like a barbarian. Just eat it. Is it good? Every once in a while, I do something right. So.
It was really good.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Really good.
That was so amazing. Thank you so much, Eric. That was incredible. I love the comment in the chat that just said that all book launches should be followed by cooking demonstrations, which we will absolutely work on. So thank you all so much for joining us. We will let you go this evening, but this has been so much fun. The recipe is on Tables of Contents' website. There's a link in the chat. This is recorded, so we will do our best to share everything within the week or so. But yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you, Pik-Shuen. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Ming. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, everyone.
Wonderful evening.
Really,
Congratulations again, Pik-Shuen.
thank you.
Take care.